Summertime. Raise the roof, it's summertime.
Get with the program.
Yes, Will Smith. We'll get to it after the show. All right, we're going to be moving it. But Cindy, pop it. Tell me your bold moment.
I got into the ACC nursing program.
August work paid off.
Let me hold $20.
No, not now.
No, diagnosis right now.
My sister came from France, y'all. See me.
If you're watching this,
How was that?
Okay. Hearts to sis.
What about you, Aaliyah?
Girl, catching flights to my feelings, okay? I just booked a trip to Cancun. I'm gonna go to Tulum while I'm there. And everything else, up in the air. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Well, welcome to The Bold Way, the show where stories of courage and resilience take center stage. Here, we celebrate the journeys of Black students, sharing their triumphs, challenges, and everything in between. Today, we're talking about the importance of building community, trying new things, and reading.
Pick up a book.
This summer, we vowed to each do 3 things we've never done. So far, I plan to take boxing classes. You know, I want to be out here looking like Muhammad Ali and shit.
Yeah. You gotta defend yourself.
Exactly, and it looks cool. I also want to join a dance team, y'all, because, you know.
Chris Brown.
Chris Brown.
Okay. I take dance classes. Yeah, we should go to one.
Why not? There's a lot of dance academies.
No, but we should go to one.
No.
Lastly, I want to go skydiving.
Indoor or like you want to for
fly.
real jump out of a plane?
No, I want to jump out of a plane.
Okay.
Are you afraid of heights?
Yes.
Okay.
That's different.
I don't even like roller coasters, but you only live once.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to that bucket list.
I've been working on my fitness journey, so it's only right that I join a run club. I have not yet.
Oh, okay.
I will. Yes. And I do plan to travel out of state. I've never been out of Texas because I'm not from here. So I do plan to do that on my birthday.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Ask her which
any
state,
ideas of where you're gonna go? Or?
No ideas yet, but it's in the works.
All right.
Recommend places.
You know, I don't know what vibe are you looking for. That's gonna determine.
I don't want the cold.
Miami.
Miami.
Miami is lit.
Maybe.
It's Mr. Worldwide.
But that's also where friendships go to die. So we'll figure that out.
I've also started reading a couple of books.
Okay.
And I think reading has just given me so much confidence, you know, in how I speak, vocabulary, because I think because reading out loud, I'm scared of that most of the time because my accent is very different here. And then, you know, I just try to avoid when the lecture in the classroom is like, oh, can you read out a sentence for us? And I'm like, yeah. And then I read it and then they're like, oh, what did you say? And then I have to repeat it. Oh. Sometimes I'm just like, yeah, you just like my accent, so you want
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
or just ask them to read it.
It's that. I'll take the positive side.
That's definitely what it is.
It's charming. It's a part of your charm. Like,
Thank you.
What about you, girly pop?
So this girl came across my TikTok. Her name was Chelsea K. And she started like this Black Austin girls group chat on GroupMe or whatever. And in that group chat, it's like 100 different girls and we all, they have like 30 different topics. There is a run club, so I'll be sure to send that to you if you want to.
Yes,
and we also have like an adventure girly thing where like adventurous girlies. I know they do like zip lining.
No, you want to do zip lining?
Yeah.
Zip lining is fun.
It's fun.
No.
So I joined this group to get me out and do different stuff. You know, I already do y'all already know I'm
a lot.
Do stuff. Yeah. So now I'm gonna do stuff with people that I don't know.
Right.
I also plan to do like a solo trip. So
where are we going?
That's a good question. I haven't figured out if I want to go like out of the country or keep it in the U.S. So we'll figure that out. But you know, since I've gotten older, I've realized like I don't read as much as I used to.
Right.
So definitely picking up more books this summer. I've been reading one book for like half a year now, but I vow to finish that. Finish that along with the other books that are on my list. Yeah. So. Yeah.
As opposed to Miss Chelsea, who reads like 7,000 books a year. Shout out to her.
Yeah.
Love you, girl.
And then like I took Dr. Cunningham, shout out to him, Dr. Cunningham's cinema class, Intro to Cinema, where we read a lot of books that were actually like that were movies, like movie adaptations
Right,
and stuff like
right.
that. So through his class, I realized that I read a lot of romance books, like a lot of romance books. And so I'm trying to diversify my reading more. So hopefully, you know, in this brass summer book club, we'll see y'all there. Hopefully,
Pull up to the book club.
We'll have a lot of different book clubs that'll encourage me to, you know, step outside my comfort zone.
Yeah,
of
I'm in there
reading.
with you. I'm in there with you. I need to
We will
absolutely. What did they say?
be out
Broaden your
there.
horizon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Open it up, girl.
Spread your wings.
Because I read serious
was
books.
very-
Okay, reading is so good for the brain. I know that, right?
Yeah.
But I read like really serious books. I do like fiction books, like Twilight. I've been there.
Okay, hey, yeah.
Vampire.
Did you read Twilight? You give me that you didn't read Twilight.
No, I watched the movie though.
Yeah, okay.
I watched
but-
the movie though.
Exactly. So, but reading is deeper than that for
Yeah.
me specifically. It serves as multiple things. Like, for example, I'm trilingual, right? I speak
right.
other languages.
Right,
so to
right.
keep up with that and to maintain fluency, I have to read different books in different languages.
Oh, that's smart.
But I mean, it's always been encouraged in my family as well. My grandfather was an author himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he has actually one of the best, well-maintained and kept libraries in West Africa, Senegal.
Oh.
Wait, so he's an author
Yeah,
and he
he-
has his own library?
Yeah.
It became kind of his sanctuary where he would just like write books or read books or buy books and like keep different government documents in there sometimes.
Right.
And it became a library after his passing because it held so much information. I like to go home sometimes and read through his archives, and it documents like colonialism.
Right. Oh, wow.
And he's living in this time where it's like, you know, and it's my grandfather, so I feel like I bond with him through,
Yeah.
Through
you
the
know,
books,
exactly.
yeah.
exactly.
That's beautiful.
So
That's really amazing.
yeah, it's really cool.
I use reading as an escape. So I've been doing a lot of fiction reading before, but now I took a brass class as well, the African American history class.
There we go.
And the books we were reading, I was interested in the Malcolm X book. I think we talked about it earlier, and I just loved it. So now I'm diving more into historical books, you know, just
I
to-
love that. I just started reading this book called Through the Midnight Door because my friend recommended it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to surround myself with more people that read to encourage myself to read. But and she recommended it because she said that she didn't like the book. She
Yeah,
wants to
so
see
now
what,
she wants to
what
see.
I think about it. So hopefully I like it. I don't know.
There's a book. It's about Black women in because that was my internship last. Yeah, it's about women in nonprofit organizations. It's called "I Said What I Said," and only Black women wrote it. It's so good.
We're taking a quick break, but stick around. Our special guest will join us right after.
I'm pretty busy. As a father of 6 kids, juggling my business, and now getting my bachelor's degree in cybersecurity. It's been amazing coming back to college. I'm gaining experience and confidence in my career. It's your time with ACC.
Welcome back to The Bold Way. Our guests for today, we have the co-owners of Black Pearl Books, Katrina and Eric Brooks. The bookstore was founded in 2019 as a pop-up shop and an online store. Today, it's a brick and mortar on Burnett Road, serving as the only Black-owned independent bookstore in Austin. In fact, it's 5 minutes from our TV studio at ACC Highland. We're neighbors. Between owning a bookstore and managing their nonprofit called Put It in a Book, we are lucky and grateful to have these two trailblazers here with us today. Woo!
Welcome to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we're gonna start off with a few questions just to get to know you.
Just
a
to
little
get to
bit
know,
more.
yeah.
How are we feeling? That's the first important question. How are we feeling?
Feeling
good?
Yeah,
Okay.
This is June. That's the story of being a business owner.
There we go.
That's right.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about your business first and foremost?
Yeah, sure. So Black Pearl Books, as you mentioned before, it's the only independently owned Black-owned bookstore within the city of Austin. Katrina founded the business back in 2019. Started off doing pop-up shops in markets around the city. as we would say, taking the books to the people.
Yeah.
COVID hits in March of 20 and completely shuts everything down.
Yeah.
Right.
Kills all in-person, face-to-face activity with respect to retail. And so she had already set up an online platform, so she did this quick pivot
there we go.
into online sales and was really just trying to work through the inventory that she had for the pop-ups.
That's
And,
amazing.
then, we hit the social justice movement in the summer of 2020 with Breonna
Yeah.
Taylor,
Yeah.
George Floyd, and Ahmaud Arbery, those deaths.
Yeah.
A lot of folks really were engaged in reading and understanding what was going on in the country. And it was like a jetpack on our back. Our business just took off.
Right.
I think you had maybe 50, 70 people that were online customers in our database heading into Memorial Day. And by the end of June, it was over 10,000. Like business completely took off. Yeah. And then from there, I actually was working my corporate job, and she convinced me to jump in because it was something.
Needed some
It was-
help.
yeah.
And we was on the rise.
Yeah, exactly. And so by the I left my corporate job in the summer of 2020, and by November she had secured a small retail space that she termed the long-term pop-up.
That's what I'm talking
And we
about.
were
I love that.
hanging out in the long-term
amazing.
pop-up for about a year, maybe a little over a year, and we frankly outgrew that and ended up in the space we are now. In February of 22, we wanted to make sure we got in for Black History Month.
Right.
So we
Oh, that is
opened up
lovely.
February 1st of
That is
22,
amazing.
and we've been there now almost 3.5 years.
Wow.
Where did you get the inspiration for your name from?
So in the process of creating a business and a business plan and thinking, wow, I'm really going to do this, and what do we call it? Black Pearl is the one that stood out for the representation of it. I mean, pearls are a rare gem.
Rare.
They are
Yeah.
rare Black pearls, right? They are called Queen of Pearls because of their rarity. And what they symbolize strength, endurance.
They do.
Healing, and at that time, like and still holds true today, like our country, our society needs healing.
Needs healing, a lot of
And
healing,
so,
right?
Yes, and so
yeah.
it really represented who we are,
Yeah.
and so made sense.
And with your location, it is a rare gem.
Yeah.
A rare spot.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Rare gem, actually,
Love that.
Right, the only Black-owned store here in Austin, and kind of, I think, Central Texas, right?
Oh,
This,
Yeah,
Bookstore
there
here.
are a couple in the DFW area, a couple
yeah.
in Houston, but yeah, in this part of the state,
part of
we're
the
the only
state.
one.
That's what I'm talking about.
how does that feel?
Big deal. Yeah. How is that?
Yeah.
Pressure?
a lot of responsibility.
For sure.
It's a lot of responsibility. Yeah.
But you take it.
But we take it. We take
Love
it.
that.
Yeah.
So how do you decide what books to stock?
That's much more art than science.
Right.
Okay.
So we kind of have two things. We have an online store and then our in-store inventory. Our online store, pretty much anything in publication, someone can go order that book, right? So
Right.
we don't have physical constraints with the number of books online. The store is a whole different subject, right? And we very much made the decision that we're going to lean into having very few of a lot of titles as opposed to a lot of any individual
Right.
books, right? And now, make no mistake, we're Black, so we are going to highlight and make sure we carry stories
literature.
by, about, for
That's amazing.
for Black authors, readers, folks interested in diasporic, stories.
Right.
But we are also in Austin, and there are, when you talk diversity, like realistically, there are a lot of different groups within the
Right.
city of Austin. And the underlying goal is we want everyone to see themselves on the shelf when they walk into our bookstore.
Right.
You may not find 100 books that you identify with, but you'll find a couple. And
For sure.
That is our goal.
I can testify.
It's definitely a strategic curation.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
how
Yeah, for sure.
So you mentioned a keyword, right? Diasporic. So does that cover, because there's a lot of books written about African colonialism as well. So that falls within, or Caribbean colonialism. So that falls within the range of books. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. We have folks that come in asking for titles on the Haitian Revolution.
Right.
Some of I'll even go back to maybe 23, early 24. Several of our most popular fiction titles were written by authors with West African heritage, right?
Wow.
And so I even got this weird kick. I knocked out like 5 straight books in a row from folks with West African backgrounds. And I looked out, I got 4 in, and I was like, wow, there's a pattern here. Right? But yeah, that's the goal, though, right? And the other piece about it is you may see something on the shelf when you come in, and 2 months later you come back, and it may not be on the shelf. Because again, we're trying to move stuff in and out, right? We want to make sure people see different titles that they don't necessarily run across when they go into other big box bookstores. That's not where we're not. If you can find it at your corporate big box bookstore, that's probably not we're probably not the first stop for you.
Okay.
However, the website can absolutely take care of it.
There we go.
Do you host community events? Do you guys have book clubs? Like, Oprah has Oprah's book club, and that's a really big deal.
Yeah.
Do you guys do anything of the sort?
We have a banned book club. Redacted Reads meets monthly, and the focus is banned books because, as we know, the representation and of highly African American, highly LGBTQ plus protagonist or stories, and so that's our focus for. So we only have one book club because, quite frankly, that's all we can manage.
Right.
Yes.
But we focus heavily on banned. I mean, even if you come into our store, we have we have like 2 bookcases just full of banned books.
Right. Oh yeah, I did see the banned books. I actually had one of the banned books that were on
there.
Yeah.
Yes, and people are surprised at some of the titles. Every time, it's like, oh, that's banned. I didn't know. I read
I
this,
had to read that in high school. It's like,
Right.
that's the whole point. It's a book that you were assigned to read in high school. Your children, your nieces, your nephews won't have access to that book.
Because
it is about access.
Access.
Does that pose any legal issues per se? Because if these books are officially banned, I don't.
They're banned in schools and some libraries, right?
So
from our standpoint as a retailer, it
doesn't
we sell what we sell.
So it's not universal.
Right.
Okay.
So
That makes
what
sense.
ends up happening though is now parents who may have read, let's use To Kill a Mockingbird as an example, right? I had to read To Kill a Mockingbird in freshman English lit, right?
Yeah, same.
My kids won't read that in freshman English lit. So do I think that's an important book for them to read? And if I do, as a parent, now I've got to figure out how to go source that book for them.
Right.
And so we want to make part of that process easier. And quite frankly, that ties back to the origin story with Katrina.
Right.
And the reason that she founded the bookstore was because she had to do a lot of work like that when our children were younger.
Yeah.
And she knows there are parents that are having to deal with the same thing. And so how does she make that easier for them to provide that outlet? And so that is part of the origin story.
Gotcha.
We just believe in freedom of thought. I mean, anytime you are censored, it's a way to control a population.
Right.
So,
Yes.
in an act of resistance, I guess, that is our small way of being able to fight back. And because, freedom of thought, just like our ancestors. I mean, they were enslaved physically, they were enslaved, mentally, right?
Yeah.
Because they were not allowed to read and write.
Exactly.
In fact, I mean, it was forbidden. They were
Yeah.
beaten,
Exactly.
killed if it was found out. And why is that? It's, you can
Knowledge
enslave
is power.
physically, but it's the power. It's
Knowledge
the
is
power
Right.
and the ability to control a person or people holistically, because you censor them and you remove the ability for them to have access.
To
think
express
freely.
themselves.
To think freely.
Right.
Yeah. And so because you have, that perspective
Right.
on literacy and reading and knowledge in general, have you ever been impacted? I'm going to assume you're an avid reader. Have you ever been impacted by a certain author or you've gravitated towards them, or you've read a book that has just changed, a little part of your soul?
There's not one, because obviously there's a plethora of titles and books out there. I do tend to, I lean towards nonfiction because I like to hear people's stories.
Yeah.
And I believe that every time I read a book, I pull something from it.
Yeah.
Right. a personal aspect, right? This is how they approach this is how they did this is where their experience mirrors my experience, something. And so that inspires me just in general.
Yeah.
James Baldwin, of course. Just,
Yes. I was hoping you did.
I had to read a lot of him last semester in one of our brass classes. So.
Yeah. And sometimes you can take away not only from, of course, their points of views and perspectives, right? Because he's a brilliant, bright man with so many ideas.
Yep.
But I like his art and his deliverance and how tactful he is. You know, so not only what he writes, but his behavior as well.
It's an art form, and I think books are an art form.
Yes.
They're literature, but
Yes.
they're an art form.
For me, I've got like two that were like really kind of seminal. I read the autobiography of Malcolm X when I was in high
same.
school,
Oh,
and
same.
that was really impactful for me. And then I read this book actually twice, Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi.
Yes,
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that.
So
I'm sorry. That book, it just speaks to me so much because we had a brass teacher that made sure that book was part of our reading, and she actually passed away not too long ago. So rest in peace to Queen Samantha Akers. But yes, Ta-Nehisi Coates, love that author. Without that class, I wouldn't have known about him, but I've been delving more into his books ever since then.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's the contemporary Baldwin.
I agree.
Honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And the thing, I like a couple of things about him, but in particular, when I read his book the first time, I'm a similar age to him. We're probably 3, 4, 5 years difference in age, something around that. And I had a son.
Right.
Or I have a son. But I had a young son at that time. And so it spoke to me in a way.
For sure.
And then as part of
Related
our Redacted Reads book club, I read it again a year ago or so maybe. My son's older. I've lived a little more. We own a bookstore. And it hit me in a completely different way.
Yeah.
But I think good literature does that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
If you read it at a point, it speaks to you based on your life experience
Right,
at that
right,
point and
where
it
you're
exposes
at.
you to
It does. It does.
You where you are. And
Right.
You get something different out of it every time you read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we always ask our guests about a bold moment from their life, you know, or their story. Do you have one?
Yeah.
Opening a bookstore. That was pretty bold. It really was.
It definitely
that.
was.
Yes.
Would you guys
And look at you now.
Right. Are you guys on TikTok? Like so?
We have a TikTok, but we're not super active on TikTok. Yeah.
We're gonna have to connect
Yeah,
after this. We can figure something out. So there's like a thing, you know, on TikTok that's called Book Talk, where they
for sure.
recommend a lot of books
Yeah.
and stuff. And I want to say I actually did see someone who had made a TikTok about your store on there. So you guys are on Book Talk.
everywhere.
But yeah, we need to need to connect after this so we can.
Yeah,
pump up
especially
the
because the
volume.
Black community here in Austin is so small.
It's so small, yeah. So
Please give my girl a lead in there. But, you know, if people wanted to find out more about Black Pearl Books, how could they do so?
So our website is blackpearlbookstore.com. We can Google us. Obviously, you mentioned we're located on 7112 Burnett
Yes.
Road, so
Yes.
you can come visit us. I think
Tuesday through Saturday.
Tuesday
11
through
a.m.
Saturday.
to 6 p.m.
Tuesday through
If
Saturday.
you show up on Sunday, that's the Lord's Day. Monday, that's our day.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, to Katrina and Eric.
This was
we
amazing.
loved having you. Thank you so much for all of the beautiful insights you guys shared on our show. Check out the store this summer, y'all. More info at blackpearlbookstore.com. It's awesome.
Man, talk about bold. I swear I could have listened to them all day.
Same.
So like every time we hear stories like this, it just reminds us of why spaces like Black Pearl Books matters.
Yep.
I mean, there's
Yep.
so much things that we can learn from how Black Pearl Books is building community through
Right.
literacy. So let's unpack the key moments that left an impact on us.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. And, you know, for me, it was hearing their why, right? Being bold means staying true to your why. Right? Starting a business like this takes grit, right? But staying
bold.
true to their purpose
Yeah.
is, you know, what makes them unique. And it's what makes Black Pearl Books so powerful. It's bold to lead with your values, even when it's not the easy route sometimes.
Right.
I just love how showing up they show up, and then that builds community. You could really feel the heart behind everything they do, from events to just being a welcoming space.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that being bold doesn't always mean being loud. Sometimes it means being present.
For sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have to remember that what you read matters.
Absolutely.
So it's important to try to dedicate at least 30 minutes of reading a day because it's time to get back to the basics.
Yes. Yes,
So
please.
encourage yourself, your children to get out more because the world is filled with opportunities for you to connect and have fun. You just have to search for them. And I actually got one for y'all.
Yes, please.
Join our Brass Summer Reading Club, okay? Make sure you stay up to date and follow us at ACC Brass for more information.
And just like that, y'all, we've reached the final chapter of this season of The Bold Way. From the very beginning, this show set out to honor the power of storytelling and, more importantly, the voices behind those stories. We've laughed, we've learned, and we've listened to journeys marked by courage, grace, and unshakable resilience. Every story shared has been a reminder that Black students are not just surviving. Okay, y'all, we are thriving. We're leading and shaping the future with boldness and brilliance.
All the time.
And with that, to every guest who sat in this space and let us into their world, thank you. And to our viewers, whether you saw yourself in these stories or walked away with a greater understanding, thank you for taking this journey with us.
Thank you.
The Bold Way doesn't end here. It's a spirit, it's a movement, and it lives on in every step forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Every voice lifted and every truth spoken with pride.
And until we meet again, stay bold, stay brave, and never stop telling your story. Thank you for watching
The Bold Way.
Stay tuned for next season. We'll be starting back in the fall.